Hello, this is Tim O'Keefe, Spider Juice Technologies, and I want to thank you for visiting us today. And I appreciate this because I was a realtor at one time myself, and found this organization RIAOC to be of very much value back in the day. I was never a member, but I would network with quite a bit of the RIAOC realtors and investor groups. So let me start this off. Michael Stark had mentioned that he knew me way back in the day as an innovator, and really this site is how we got on each other's radar. He had his big site that he was running, and I had this one, and I had partnered with my ex-real estate partner from way back in the day, Mike Work, and we created this cool website. And this is probably from 2002, 2001-ish, maybe 1999 even. And you see us ranking for number 2 for the word for sale by owner. And you could obviously see how Google has changed over time. Very interesting. But anyway, we're here today to talk really about social media, and I wanted to just ask you if everybody would just stand up. Everybody who has been or has used a video, watched a video in the last day, stand up. Go ahead, get up. How many of you have looked at a video through their mobile phone? Okay, the rest of you sit down. Right. So that's interesting. But did you know that the YouTube itself is a social network? And in fact, you can respond right there in YouTube with their video recorder, and it'll record through your camera, and you talk right in, and you can actually socially respond to somebody's video. You could also do commentary, much like the old school blogs. And if you look at these different platforms, I'm wondering how many of you have used some of these platforms. YouTube, Twitter, Flickr, WordPress, Facebook, and there's a bunch more, as we'll soon see. WordPress is a blogging platform, and yes, it is a part of the social media, part of the original social media. And because people back in the day, going back 2003, 2004, 2005, would respond to each other's posts either through commentary or actually posting and doing something that is a ping or trackback to let them know that they just responded to a post within that WordPress page, excuse me. How many people know Active Rain? Now we're getting into the real estate realm. Active Rain has been around forever, originally a blog, still a blog, a network, real estate related. Truly a real estate search, truly a voices, opportunity for you folks to communicate directly with the real estate consumer. Zillow.com, same kind of thing. Bigger Pockets is not only residential, but I believe, I think it has residential, but I know it has commercial and investor abilities for you to communicate with the consumer there, for sure, and certainly CRE online. And it's not hard to find this stuff, by the way, you guys. Just type in real estate forums, commercial real estate. There's all kinds of opportunities for you to find people off of the beaten path that we all think of, like Facebook or the ones that I've mentioned. You can actually find stuff that is in your own community. Type in your city plus forum plus real estate, or city plus forum commercial real estate. You might find something that's right up your alley. Or type in forum plus homes for sale, or forum plus remodeling, forum plus mortgage, forum plus short sale, foreclosure, anything. Those are conversations. The whole idea of social media is inserting yourself into a conversation that your consumer is having. And what better conversation than when they're looking for somebody specifically like a realtor or an investment broker. Other places you could look are, just as a side note, that's good, are travel sites. There's travel sites and people talking about moving from one city to another cross country, relocating. Twitter. So 2007, I'm at a conference, and I've known about Twitter, but they're just all over me to get on to Twitter. There's literally people inside of the conference tweeting the conference, if you believe that or not. So, as an example, Mary would tweet about something the speaker had said, hashtag the speaker's name or the conference name, and then Jane would reply. And it reminded me of being in school with people passing notes, but I was like, God, 140 characters? How are we supposed to talk to somebody with only 140 characters? And who could I possibly talk to? I mean, on this little format called Twitter. And I was to learn just recently, this is last week's statistics, Facebook has 1.06 billion monthly active users, YouTube has 800 million users, and Twitter has 500 million total users, more than 200 million active. Those are big numbers. That's a lot of people. And here are some of the others. Sina Weibo, 400 million users. I have no idea what that is. Never heard of it before. There's a lot of stuff out there. LinkedIn, 200 million users. There's stuff up there like Gmail, Hotmail. They call that social. I don't know how. Really, I mean, I guess technically you're emailing somebody, that could be considered social, but it's not what we typically think of. But it's a lot of people. Tumblr is 150 million users. Badoo, 162 million users. Yelp, 100 million users. So that's a lot. There's 3 pages, and I just took a random sampling of stuff out there. So that's a lot of social media. But we forgot Google Plus. Google Plus has 343 million active users. Now, that's active pretty much if you have a Gmail email account or a YouTube. You are also on Google Plus without knowing it, and you just need to go over and claim your space over there. But Google has made a very conscious effort as of beginning of 2012 to become a social network. In fact, SEO is social media, is SEO. Social media is reputation marketing, is social media. Reputation management is SEO, is reputation management, or as some people like to call it, reputation marketing. So I put the 3 circles together to show you how all of these fit together and overlap, and more they're becoming the same. So SEO is becoming social media, is becoming SEO. Facebook wants to be Google. Google wants to be Facebook. Twitter wants to be Google. Google wants to be Twitter. They want those members because they want those. They want to track you and data mine you. There is a reason Google gives you free email. They're tracking you. There's a reason they give you all the goodies they give you for your website. If you're aware, they have Google Analytics. Well, they're tracking you, and when they track your website and millions like it, there's some data and trends that they can derive from it that helps them make money. Us in the industry like to call it spyware. But it is what it is. It's, nothing is free. So I've created this circle. Originally I wanted to take the Olympic circle, but then when I looked it up I realized that there's 5 total circles, not 3. So it didn't work for my my little graphic here. So can anybody guess where I got this? Just as a side note, do you remember these guys? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. So all of this is ubiquity is the new exclusivity. I didn't come up with this. I wish I could remember where I heard this first, but it sounds really smart. And between you and me, I had to look up the word ubiquity to really get what it means. But it pretty much means everywhere. Everywhere is a new exclusivity. So if while you're working and working and working and working on your website, and boy, you're going to get it right, and you're going to put the right words in there. There's ways and strategies and tactics where you can get your brand everywhere. Remember all those places I mentioned a little while ago? I mean, you could literally be in all those places. In fact, again, side note, little bonus. Go to knowem.com. Spend about $300. They'll create profiles for you with your brand name in it, in all these different social places. Okay? So now I'm going to ask you the 3 circles. Okay, where do you think I got that? Well, I'm a product of the 70s and early 80s, so I had to get it from here. So anyway, for you nostalgic buffs. So more and more you'll see, again, SEO is social is SEO, reputation is SEO is reputation, so forth and so on, and more they're coming to be one as these sites fight to be and data mine us for advertising. Facebook, make no mistake, is an advertising company. Google, I hope you understand, is not a search engine. It is an advertising company, as is Twitter trying to be. With all us free people, us giving all them free information and free collaborative information and postings on their site, we are helping them to create a platform for them to get us to pay to have advertising on. Okay, so as you watch Time magazines and Newsweeks and the media behemoths that represented the Mad Men TV show of all the big advertising, that is now Google. Android came for a reason, and I'm not going to get too far into that. Understand that is what all of this is about. Them being able to have maps and taking pictures of your house and your business. It all has to do with being able to present you an advertisement on your computer as well as your phone. So let's get into some tactical stuff here. Let's go over the 3 secrets to effective social media. Boy, that sounds sexy, doesn't it? Tell a story. Okay, I'm not a great storyteller. I'm trying to be, doggone it, and I'm decent though. And study stories, study storytelling. Go practice. If you have grandchildren or if you have a kid that's of age that loves, even older kids, everybody loves a story. I coach youth football, and I tell my kids stories all the time because it gets them instantly into learning mode. And it instantly gets people's attention. So, tell a story and learn how. So one great way to learn how to tell a story is study Joseph Campbell and mythology. YouTube him. YouTube the name. Watch him. Watch him on your cell phone. Or buy his books. He will teach you tons on just stories that stick with humankind. There's certain stories that have gone through time. One is that he found was the reluctant hero. Whether you're a Christian or not, the story of Jesus Christ, to some degree, a large degree, is the reluctant hero. And to moving forward to our last century in this one with comic books and TV, we will see that we have the reluctant hero. So who is the reluctant hero? Well, real quickly, their hero may refuse the adventure or deny the ability to move beyond the status quo. All of these constitute the refusal of the call, etc., etc., etc. I'll skip down to the bottom. In many stories, a reluctant hero is portrayed as having a period of doubt after his initial foray into heroism. This may be brought about by the negative consequences of his own heroic actions or by the achievement of some position of personal safety. So forth and so on. I just got this from Wikipedia. So here are some examples of reluctant heroes. Spider-Man, Neo from The Matrix, and Luke Skywalker. George Lucas says without Joseph Campbell, he would have never been able to finish Star Wars. He couldn't get it to work. And he revisited and I believe talked and spent lots of time with Campbell personally, and he attributes the success of Star Wars to Joseph Campbell. So I would think one of the most successful films of all time, the most successful franchises in film of all time, really would beg you then to go study some of Campbell's work. So how can you be a hero? Well, one way is through transparency. Transparency doesn't mean, we see this all the time on Facebook. Someone taking a picture of what they're having for lunch. I guess, whatever. I've never been impressed by that. But transparency, let's ramp up the sophistication and the marketing people. So how can we be transparent? Well, one way is tell your story through time, right? Tell your story through time, because you only have when someone reads a snippet on a post on Twitter or Facebook, you've got 5 minutes of life for that story. Now there's tactics to expand that life, to get it back into people's view, but for the most part, without getting into those other tactics, you only have 5 minutes, 2 minutes, depending on what study you're listening to. So tell your story through time. And so there's a theme going on. Who are you? What do you stand for? Who do you help? Well, one way is to show epic pictures. I'm sorry, this is pretty epic to me. I think this picture is pretty badass. And it tells part of my story. And it is in my photo album in Facebook. It's a nice picture, if I may say so myself. I kind of look epic coach there. The guy that's fuzzy on the right was the first high school coach I've ever had, and I'll tell that story to people when I talk football. And he was my freshman football coach. He's now my assistant offensive coordinator. And I coach right now presently 8th graders. I've coached both of my boys. And I'm presently at the end of the realm for my youngest, who's going on to high school soon. So there's a story there. So what? Well, through the other posts that I do about football, I try to show not just how I am a coach, because some people think a coach is just a rah-rah guy who yells at kids. And so I try to show how I care. I take on the concussion issue that's going on right now, and poke at some of the fables that in that and the truths that are in that. I point out some of the better tackling coaches from around the country, some of the lessons learned from some of the better well-known coaches out there. And by the way, I've met speaking of Facebook and social media, I met a very well-known college football coach through Facebook, and he became involved with our league and helps our league tremendously, and it's all because of Facebook. And I've met other very important people in my business networking through Facebook. And I'm not going around selling, come to my event or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying I don't do a lot of overt promotion through my personal profile. I throw my family in there to show them, what does this say? Well, we're obviously right after a coach's or a game, I should say. My kids wearing the jersey. I've got a family, and it shows, I'm a family guy too. So I'm telling a story. That's all. I'm just telling a story. Being transparent, living transparently on social media, as a fellow by the name of Ben Mack I heard once say. So here's one of my favorite tactics. I love the piggyback stories, and part of the reason I love piggyback stories is because it grabs attention from people that matter, that you want their influence in your world to rise your authority or social influence. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's a piggyback. The Pope is retiring. So it's kind of innocuous, whatever. It's not like, how do you make that into something? Well, I posted actually 4 on the day of his retirement. I posted 4, and I forgot to put the other one in. But I mentioned one that's a direct thing. He never had a chance, somebody's opinion piece. Then one that he's retiring, and it was kind of funny. I wonder if he'll have, because he has a Twitter account. He just got a Twitter account. He's already quitting, So I wonder if, twit pics and Instagrams from the Olive Garden. So I'm kind of being funny, cute, I guess, if you call that funny. And then one was, spiders are falling from the sky, so I say biblical. Well, that's kind of attached to the, the religious thing and maybe to the Pope. And then I put another one up referencing Guido Sarducci from the Saturday Night Live Find the Pope in the Pizza. So I did 4, to keep it topical. And, the reason is if you remember the line from the famous advertising guru, David Ogilvy, enter the conversation already going on in your client's, prospect's head. Well, in Facebook, it's also could be in your intended audience's head. And so I'm going to pick on one of my friends and mentors right now, and he did not post this. I just kind of pieced the post together. But there's a friend of mine who's a very smart man and mentor to me, helps me a lot with my business as well as my football coaching. And he's a great guy. He's involved in neuro-linguistic programming and NLP for short. And what he posted one of these a couple days ago was a post. I can't remember what it was at this point, but it was something kind of similar, kind of on the tact of what I posted on my wall, which was 50% of graduates are underemployed. So I ask you, is it Bush's fault? So that'll get all the Republicans kind of stirred up. Is it Obama's fault? That'll get all the Democrats stirred up. Or maybe computer's age's fault. What? What is that? How can it be the computer's, right? Different tact. I'm kind of being provocative here without being over the top. And I've tested all kinds of things, and I have no problem being over the top, talking about religion and talking about politics, which I kind of have done both right here. But I've been much more evoking than this. So this is kind of tame for my persona that I've created in the social media. But this post I put up alone grabbed people from Jonathan, that's his name, upper left, from his wall to come over to mine because he I believe he liked one of the posts from somebody who originally I got from him, I believe, this fellow named Stever, who's from, I believe he's from the same industry. And another smart guy, real smart people. I mean, Jonathan has lots of smart people on his wall, and by getting people from his wall over to mine, I'm getting social authority if they're willing to post onto my wall and enter the conversation. And it's funny, in this particular conversation of the comments and likes, it was hilarious because it was about, there were some in there that were about as sophomoric as you could possibly be and not very highbrow, and then you have the people from Jonathan's that are group and Jonathan himself that are highbrow, educated, very highly educated, very proper, if you will. And so it's a nice mix, and it's funny where I got this originally from. I got to give it a tribute to Dave Lacani, who doesn't put on the NLP moniker, but definitely has studied NLP. He is a persuasion expert and a marketing expert, and another mentor of mine and I talked with him years ago, and he's the one that got me to originally blog. And he's the one that got me to originally start doing interviews with people, because the idea is when you interview somebody, you're able to get some of their authority. Why would this person, as an example, say that I interviewed down in Miami and Florida, who builds, $10 and $20 million mansions for the world's super rich? Why would he discuss real estate marketing or marketing with me? I must be something. Well, between you and me, the doorknob, it's because I asked. That was it. You just ask. But the perception is that it's that, wow, he's talking to this worldwide famous guy who's been on television and everything else. He's the bomb. So it shares that influence, kind of drips onto you. And so this is a technique to get more influencers into your world, and what I'm showing you here. Now, it's not a one-time shot. You're building, it's relationships. You just don't go into church and start selling used cars, right? You don't do that. And it's the same thing in social media. You don't go selling, even trying to get people to come to your wall. You just don't do that. You have to earn it, just like in the real world. It's social. At this event with RIAOC, what do you guys do? You guys network, right? You're networkers. You're sharing different property. You're sharing realtor and commercial real estate investor insider information with each other, and it's about as organic and old school as it gets. And you guys are doing that. Social media is like doing that 24/7. You have the ability to tap into people, but it's, again, you got to earn the right to through friendships. Even though it's digital, they're real humans out there, and they're real people, and you need to respect that. So the reason they came over is because it is topical and on their mind and their passion. The people that got onto this care that 50% of our graduates are underemployed, right? Whether they're Republican, whether they're Democrat, whether they're independents, they all care. We all care. I mean, of course we all care. There's something wrong with that. And so it's a topic of discussion, and it's a passionate topic. So these are I can go into this for the next 6 hours and in some of this stuff. So I wrote down 16 traits of a social media warrior, and they're things that if you adopt will help you be more than just the average person that blasts their recent listing. Here's my listing at 123 Apple Street. Isn't it great? No one cares. It's like, again, going to church and trying to sell a used car or a house or an MLM, network marketing. Buy Amway. Dude, we're in church. Come on. Well, it's the same thing going to a party, and if you want to talk about it that way, and you're talking to somebody and you start ripping off on and trying to sell them a house. I mean, it's what gives salespeople a bad name. There's some skill and rapport building, and that's a cute way of just saying, be a good person and a friend. And so what I came up with was, be epic, Be cool. Be outrageous. I know somebody, Mary McKnight, who has changed her focus a little bit over the years, but when she was marketing hard to realtors, and she said, I inspired her, and I got to say right here, because I was one of the original real estate bloggers, she inspired me because she was doing stuff that I just was like, wow, that's not very professional, but it works. She's outrageous, and even has a site called Sacrilegious Marketing, I think. And I mean, I've heard her drop F-bombs. I've read her, I should say, drop F-bombs unapologetically and very skillfully to polarize her readership. And it was an act of frickin' genius. And it just made her followers all the more appreciative of what she does. Be inviting. Be kind and loving. So as soon as you get a little bit too full of yourself, just remember to be kind and be loving. Be a thought leader. People are looking to be led. I mean, you're a marketer, you're a salesperson, you're a business owner. If you're not leading, then you're following. I mean, you have to lead. So be a thought leader, co-opt the conversation, enter the conversation, and then take it over skillfully. You can't just jump in and be, oh, I'm the leader, follow me. Good luck with that. Be strong. To be a thought leader, you have to be strong. Be opinionated. Leaders have unique opinions. I used to say in blogging, when I used to teach a lot of blogging tactics, be an editor, not a reporter. Or an editorial writer, I should say, and not a reporter. Be purposeful. Know why you're doing it. Just don't post because you need to do a post. Be joyous. Be charitable. Be engaging. And at the same time, go out and engage people. Don't just blast on your wall. Go out and talk to the friends that are on your list or others. Be arrogant and confident. Be confident. Be polarizing, like Mary did. You don't have to curse and do all that. But have an opinion. It comes to being have an opinion. You stand for something. Be unbiased. As biased, and that's kind of conflicting. I'm saying be opinionated, which kind of means be biased. But understand where your biases are, and that'll help you to stay friendly and loving. Because maybe you're wrong. Set the frame or the context of your conversations and posts. So I hope that you found this useful. We are just scratching the surface, and I'd love to help you more. And you can contact me here, and we'd be glad to set up a consult or set up a level of service for you that will help you achieve some of the possibilities that are out there in social media and SEO and reputation marketing. I hope you had a great day. Again, this is Tim O'Keefe at Spider Juice Technologies. Have a great one.